Let me start with a question. Do you know what an AMV is? Yeah, you've probably heard of these. Fan-made music videos, usually made as a sort of tribute for somebody's favorite anime. You know, AMV meaning anime music video. But you can pretty much do something like this for everything under the sun, and I do mean everything. Turn on Safe Search, kids. It's a very unsafe world. But yeah, an AMV is usually an edited video with scenes and images taken from a certain show or character with a song in the background that usually fits the show in question. Or not, there really isn't any rules for these. But if you were like me as a kid and you were a fucking dork who searched up stuff on the internet, you definitely saw and fell in love with shit like Sonic the Werehog going ham to Monster, or Ash Greninja doing his sick moves to like Courtesy Call. It's odd, I admit, but this stuff always struck a chord with me. Especially if the creator took the time to actually line up the huge moments in the footage to like the beat drop in the song. It was fucking dope! And you know why, right? We as humans love doing things to a certain beat. It's literally instilled within our DNA from birth. Babies literally are programmed to calm down as soon as they hear the little heartbeat of the person who shit them out. Oh, no! It's just how we as humans work. If you listen to music while working out, driving, washing dishes, you'll subconsciously start to line up your actions to the beat of the song. It's why I'm legally not allowed to listen to Rihanna in the car anymore. We love doing things to a beat. It's why music and TV shows have soundtracks. It's just fun to have a story with music in the background. To either set the mood or to like line up with the character's actions, we love coming up with scenarios with either ourselves or our favorite characters kicking ass perfectly to a song. Hell, I'm sure you've done this while watching a TV show with earbuds in, pretending that the characters are saying the lyrics, or when playing games like Call of Duty, and trying to line up all the headshots to the rhythm of the music you got playing in your earbuds. I mean, literally everyone's done this. I've never done that. Not scientifically possible! The beat, the rhythm, the vibe, the whatever the fuck a treble is, it's hard-coded in our DNA, our DNA. And that brings me to what I really want to talk about today. And that's, why the hell did it take this long to get a game based on that concept? Hi-Fi Rush is a sleeper hit that came out in January that took the world by storm for a week and then promptly vanished back to the left field from whence it came. A game with no build-up, no hype. It was just a game released by Xbox the same day it was announced. It got like a 10 out of 10 on every major news site, and that was it. No DLC, no crazy season pass, it was just a really fun, well-made game. Directed by John Johannes, better known for his work on horror games like Evil Within 2 alongside Shinji Mikami. Yep, the classic horror game people working on a colorful, fun, zany JoJo reference of an action game. It's wild, but it's even more wild with how amazing it is. This was apparently John Johannes' dream game for a while. According to some interviews, this game has been in development since Shinji Mikami's Evil Within 2 interview, where he said that director Johannes wanted his next game to be the exact opposite of Evil Within. Which yeah, this game is, if you couldn't already tell. Hi-Fi Rush is a character action game where if you time your hits, dodges, and jumps to the beat of the music, they get a little bit faster, stronger, or more effective. You don't necessarily have to time it to do the action, and I guess you can get through the whole game without timing your actions to the beat. But all those movements happen on beat anyway, so you might as well try to. But if you're somebody who's tone deaf, don't worry, as this game has a variety of options to help you find the beat, or at the very least, help you keep on it. In Hi-Fi Rush, the whole world revolves around the music. The environment, enemies, and even the HUD moves and grooves to the same beat as the player does. And that's all thanks to our lovable dork of a protagonist, Chai. A 20-something self-proclaimed rock star that couldn't play a guitar to save his life. However, after a freak accident involving his old as hell iPod getting implanted within his chest, he sees and possibly even forces the world around him to march to his own beat, letting him use his new musical powers to save the day from the evil Vandelay company, and their evil plot that is so brain-damagingly corporate it hurts. Let's go into the gameplay a little bit more. If you played games like Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising, Transformers Devastation, basically a platinum game, you already know how these things work. Chai goes through the game beating and bashing everything with his ever-increasing arsenal of new combat techniques and combos, while also doing some light 3D platforming. Chai has friends, I know I was surprised too, but these guys act as his shop and training room stand-ins, while also joining Chai in on the fun for certain circumstances or combos. The best of Chai's buddies is a robotic cat named 808 who desperately needs a toy or something for me to own. He's so adorable and he's the perfect companion, as he can help Chai keep on the beat and perform powerful moves. I really like how this game plays. The combat is fun and fast paced while also including a unique complexity with the player trying to time their movements. Like most character action games, it gets more and more complicated as you go on, but the game slowly helps the player get used to each of the different mechanics. I do think they make you wait a little long for some of the more classic mechanics like the ability to block. We got that way too late in the game if you ask me, and I straight up didn't like the little minigame you do with the tougher enemies. I get that it's just a little rhythm game thing that tests your timing and can help you block things better, but like they're also one-hit kills on enemies I would have rather just fought normally. There is a boss that's pretty much nothing but this, and I like that fight for what it is, but I just did not care for this aspect of the gameplay. Otherwise though, I had a lot of fun timing all my moves and trying my best to wreck robots in one or more stylish ways. And like I said before, timing is important. In fact, when this game grades your performance in each level, it actually measures your movement timing instead of your health lost, which is strange in a genre that's usually all about grilling players on how they shouldn't get hit. Now there is a little reward for your no-hit runs with a little star after the letter grade, but the game believes that the player's timing is a much more important aspect than the health. Which is kind of refreshing, I say, as somebody who gets his ass kicked a lot in these games. But also refreshing in a way that this game really takes its gimmick about being on the beat seriously. Again, you don't need to be on the beat to beat the game. You don't need to be on beat to beat the game, but this game will do everything in its power to push you in that direction and even help you out if you need it. And I agree with the game. When everything starts clicking into place and you see the star after your attack signifying that you press the button on time, and you're blocking and dodging everything perfectly, I feel immersed in this world and I'm really getting into the game's groove. It's really fun and I'm glad to say that, because before diving in I was worried about even liking the game due to my lack of rhythm, and I came out of it loving it to pieces. I'll say this right now, if you're like me and worried if the game's gimmick may not be for you, check out Hi-Fi Rush on Game Pass. Gotta make use of that service before somebody at Microsoft shuts it down. I am surprised it's lasted this long. But yes, even if you're unsure, still give the game a try. I think you'll enjoy it. But of course this game's world wouldn't be as immersive if it wasn't for all the beautiful visuals that are expertly animated and designed. Oh, and of course, the tiny little detail of having a brilliant fucking soundtrack. Visuals first, cause that's my expertise. It's so colorful and full of detail. I mean, just look at it. It's pretty and wonderful and has all these cool animated segments that transition perfectly from gameplay back to animation. Like, I've never seen something like this in a game before. It's so damn cool. The action and movements are cartoony, the game itself is all around stupid funny, but I love me some slapstick. And this game delivers every chance it gets. The only problem I have visual-wise was how weird the game was about costumes. These are completely locked off from the player till post-game. And you know, I get why. One is the fact that other clothes would probably ruin the immersion of the animated bits cause Chai would be in a different outfit. And two is the fact that they probably want you to spend your in-game money on the gameplay mechanics instead. But that whole concept is kind of shit on by the deluxe edition costumes, which you can wear as soon as you get to the base the first time. So I wonder why you'd even bother locking off all the rest? Speaking on the post-game, it's fine. I like it, kinda. It's basically the usual type of enemy gauntlet and like the gimmicky stages. It was cool, but it's not really my cup of tea. I really didn't play much of the post-game. But I do like how there's story stuff involved with it, you know, if you need that incentive to play it. If a game like this, so tied to the concepts of beat and rhythm, had a shitty soundtrack, well, that would be a dead game right there. For a game like this, the OST, original soundtrack by the way, is vital. And I'm glad to say that the team behind Hi-Fi Rush understood this, and so developed not just a killer soundtrack, but a cool soundtrack with tons of cool licensed music that still fits with the world and action surrounding them. That AMV comparison earlier was way more relevant than you probably imagined. Though, let's not sleep on the original pieces composed for the game, as they are just as amazing and wonderful as the songs that inspired them. Hell, this game even has a streamer mode where they play their own written and produced songs instead of the licensed stuff, so streamers don't have to worry about copyright ID, which, thank the rock gods, somebody on the team had the forethought for that kind of stuff. Oh, and also thank them for the fact that the original songs are effing amazing. Genuinely, I think this game could have gotten away with just dropping the licensed stuff and exclusively using their original stuff. This is not me saying that these songs are way better than the licensed music. I'd have to compare and judge them separately from the game to make that kind of claim. Which, no, I'm not going to do. But I will say that you should not sleep on the original songs, as I genuinely think that they fit the game itself way better. I mean, of course the original music that was specifically made for the set pieces they're set to would be better, but don't lie to me, you know without a shadow of a doubt that Too Big to Fail is just an awesome song, dude. If the team ends up never making any more Hi-Fi Rush, they at least gotta make another album full of original songs. I don't need context for whatever bosses these songs were meant to build up. Good music is good music, bro. Alright, you know the drill. Skip to this time on screen to avoid all story spoilers for Hi-Fi Rush. Gonna go ahead and say that the story does really add to the experience, so if you're interested, you should just go ahead and play it. And of course, skip to the time on screen. I really do appreciate the views and shit, boys. Thank you. We start off as Chai, a dude in his 20s with a dream of one day becoming a rock star. To do this, he decides to sign up for the Armstrong program, headed up by local billionaire corporation Vandelay Industries. The program allows people with disabled limbs to replace them for free with a cybernetically enhanced one. Chai ends up making it into the program, but things go wrong when his MP3 player is accidentally thrown into the machine, giving him his new arm. It was thrown in there by Vandelay's current CEO, a man by the name of Kale, who was in the middle of ranting about the people who signed up for the program when he threw the MP3 player away, calling all the volunteers a bunch of losers. Yeah, I bet you can guess who the villain is, can't you? The MP3 is implanted in Chai's chest, giving him some crazy reality warping powers related to music. Chai is then confronted by a bunch of security bots who have come to kill him due to his new powers, technically making him a defect. And since Chai didn't read the contract, he finds out here that his new arm was made for trash collecting. Yeah, so much for the Rockstar thing. Oh, and he also finds out that Vandelay is now going to kill him to keep up their no defect policy. Again, can you guess the villain here? Luckily, Chai's powers manifest in his arm as it allows him to summon forth his mighty axe. It's so weird that they never made that joke in the game. Like, really, how did you miss that? Anyway, his magnetic trash stick alongside his powers allows him to make a guitar that he can use to beat the shit out of his enemies. As Chai is escaping, he finds a little robot cat named 808 and ends up befriending her creator, Peppermint, who is trying to expose Vandelay's secret project, Spectra, that the company is keeping under wraps for some suspicious reason. Chai agrees to help Peppermint and 808 expose Spectra as long as they get him a way out of this hellscape. To expose Spectra, Chai is tasked to collect certain keys that will allow him access to the files. To do this, Chai has to go around the company and take on the different heads of the different departments in battle, where to get the keys, he has to kill them? Jesus, Chai! Like, sure, these guys are really awful people who probably had it coming, but like, I was not expecting the guy with the guitar to kill them with his guitar. I guess this isn't really a complaint from me, but like, I just did not expect our plucky little goofball here to be so down with killing. And I mean, he just fucking revels in it. Like, what's going on, man? Are you fucked up in there? He probably is. We don't know what that music shit did to him. He's not all there. His mind probably got all remixed and shit, and now it's playing two different tracks. Like, we got the plucky goofball Chai, and then we got the feel like a monster kind of dark Chai that kills people. You know, the type of shit that like AMVs are made about. That really wrapping it all in here, Jesus. As they go on collecting the keys and dealing with the crazy heads, the team ends up getting 3 tag-alongs who join the fight against Spectra. The redheaded girl even being one of the Vandelay heads herself, but wasn't involved in the Spectra project because, you know, she was a decent person unlike the others. So instead of dying, she was allowed to join the team, which is convenient considering she was the only head they couldn't kill due to her password not being a physical flash drive. It was only stored in her memory. You know, I wonder if Corsica here ever wonders about the what if, because Chai was absolutely down to murk her, and I bet that kind of bothers her. I can envision a conversation happening over lunch, like she's just walking up to Chai and is like, "Hey Chai, isn't it great we became friends and didn't have to kill each other?" And he turns to her and is like, "Oh yeah, you would have been toast if I actually tried to kill you." "Oh, Chai, I like to think I would have put up a pretty decent fight, I betcha." And Chai just leans in, holding one of those little ketchup cups, and just whispers into her ear, "There wouldn't be enough of you to fill half of this tiny thing, Corsica." Before going back to eating his lunch, just leaving Corsica mortified at the the tactical nuke of a situation she avoided fighting Chai. God bless. But anyway, as the team makes their way through the heads, it's revealed that Peppermint is actually Kale's sister, and that it was her mother who founded Vandelay as this wonderful and helpful company, but Kale took over the reins after her mother disappeared. Peppermint had a falling out with her mother, which left her unavailable to stop Kale before, which is why she feels responsible for Vandelay's fall now. She expects the team to be mad at her, but Chai cuts the bullshit and says that it really doesn't matter who she's related to, only that they're here to stop Kale now. They eventually beat the last few bosses and make it up to Kale's lair, where Peppermint is sure nothing will get between Kale and her team. Would you like to take a wild guess about who gets in their way? It's Peppermint's mom! Yay! Mama Vandelay! She was with Kale the whole time, but not necessarily of her own volition. Yes, it's about time for me to explain what Spectra really is. Spectra is basically an AI that mind controls people with Vandelay cybernetics into buying more Vandelay products. God damn it. I know this game is pretty much a parody and critique of the entire corporate hierarchy and all of its dumb bullshit that's really only hurting people for better numbers than they had last quarter. But my god, this is the most corporate brain rot thing I've ever heard of. Like, throughout the game, it's pretty much confirmed how little vision and forethought Kale actually has. So of course, he develops mind control hidden inside of medical equipment, and doesn't see how that isn't the most evil thing ever. He's all like, "Oh, it's not really mind control, it's just an investment to guarantee Vandelay's success." Kale, you invented a war crime to try and make more money. This is like if a hospital created a new cancer to force people to keep coming and paying for treatment. Like, he doesn't even think about using this for world domination, which probably would have been trivial with this kind of tech. No, he exclusively is worried about profits. Oh my god. This is like Apple and John Deere only letting their staff and their proprietary parts fix their machines, but on a new level. Like, this is the most CEO corporate shit ever. making a catastrophic evil and only seeing it for its money-making potential and not for the obvious harm and danger it puts the rest of the world in. Fuck Kale and his Dark Vader Doc Ock cosplay. A regular supervillain would have been more redeemable than Kale in this instance. Kale traps the team in a crazy vibration music barrier, but luckily Chai is able to break it due to, his crazy vibration music powers. My god, you've really gotta fucking go, man. And he does, after getting his ass kicked by Chai and 808's sick moves. The game ends with Mama Vandelay back in charge of the company, with the team getting jobs under her, including Chai, who becomes Vandelay's rock star. Not really sure of the job description here, but I don't think Chai would have read it anyway, so who cares? The team is then seen relaxing, watching the sunset as the game ends, with Chai finally learning how to play guitar, Peppermint and Corsica getting into a little romance, and Macaron and Cinnamon wondering when I'm going to actually acknowledge their existence. The story of the game isn't anything too complex, but its themes and characters are really enjoyable, and they allow the game to have a compelling message through some of the funniest comedy I've seen in a game. I really enjoyed it. Chai is a great main character. He's kind of got this Spider-Man effect of being a lovable dork protagonist that gets on all of the characters' nerves, but never the players. Which of course leaves us all entertained, though my god, does this man really need to learn the secret art of shutting the fuck up. That Corsica fight, man, oh, he is so lucky Peppermint didn't patch a self-destruct in that arm of his, after he fumbled the bag that hard. Also, the guy's bloodlust is a little insane, like I'm sure it doesn't come through in the dialogue, but don't be fooled. Chai is on a warpath through Vandelay. He kills everything in his way, which I'm not exactly a fan of, but I kind of respect it about Chai's character. Though, he is a bitch for only turning it off when he thinks he can't win a fight. You earned that dimension-shifting punch, Rockstar. Peppermint was a wonderful character, mostly due to how well she plays off of Chai. Peppermint is serious and the intelligent one of the team, while Chai is more of the heart and the muscle of the team. They are each other's exact opposites, and I love every minute of their bickering that led them to become best friends. Plus, she made 808, which again is adorable, and also an amazing fucking actor whenever it had to play telephone and pretend to be another character. They kind of use her like a phone or like FaceTime to talk to Chai, and then 808 gains their movements. It's a really fun idea. I thought it was really cute. Macaron is the pacifist with the massive fists. You know the archetype, and Macaron kind of doesn't really go any farther than that character-wise. But I loved him all the same, and I found him always trying to put a lid on Chai's bloodlust hilarious. Plus, he was the inventor of two other beloved characters in Cinnamon and the Fridge, who needs to learn personal space. Did he purposely design that thing to get off on violence? Cause that's kinda concerning. Cinnamon was hilarious in this game, with his dry wit and his expressions being drawn on with a marker, and him always saying the shit that nobody else on the team would have gotten away with. Always love when a robot or butler character gets to pull no punches, and Cinnamon is like both of those things, and it's amazing. He's the only one on the team that technically doesn't do anything gameplay-wise, which leads him to be unsure of his place on the team. But Chai is always encouraging him and saying that his time will come. And when it finally did, I was so hyped. It was awesome. At first, Corsica seems like she's just gonna be a copy of Peppermint with the whole tough girl thing going on. But she really comes into her own with how much of her own charm she brings to the table. Watching her reactions to her many problems during her level was hilarious. And her and Chai's interactions are great, as Chai is completely incomprehensible as a person to Corsica. It's so funny. Combat-wise, she was probably my favorite of the team, with her cool whirlwind and counter moves. Plus, she even has a soft spot for puns, and that's always a plus in my book. I can see why Peppermint developed a crush on her. Kale and the rest of the villains were all over the top and entertaining. I love how they all personally personify the sins of their respective departments. I recently have been getting into JoJo, so this doofus was one hell of a treat. But my favorite brother had to be Rika. Her stupid macho man impression won me over, and I think she was perfect for the role of the first head we took down. The real cream of the crop. I'll stop that. She and the rest of these assholes personally personify toxic work culture. By the way, love how Kale's own arrogance and elitism and just plain lack of common sense is exactly what led to Chai becoming the perfect thing to beat his ass. Someone who Kales calls a loser gains unimaginable, possibly cosmic level power from a machine Kale made to turn people into trash collectors. That's just funny. That's 2 supervillain level machines he's made, but he only uses them for corporate nonsense. Kale lacks all basic forms of self-awareness, and that leads to everyone around him to suffer, those poor employee bots. Oh wait, how could I forget about those guys? The robots around Vandelay are the comedic glue that holds this game's comedy together. Every one of them, whether it's the NPCs in their wacky situations or the enemy ones just goofing around in their cutscenes, they're all so funny. I could not get enough of these guys, and the fact that they're at their wits' end trying to work for the different heads simultaneously makes them relatable, heartbreaking, and again, hilarious. My favorite has to be Lucille. Keep up that quiet quitting, girl. This company is not worth your time. Her overworked, underpaid assistant energy that never took an ounce of shit, especially from Chai, was perfect. I was always happy to see this character, and she was never happy to see me. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, and by the way, did you notice how I mentioned Chai and his interactions with all of these characters being great? Yeah, that's how you know you got an amazing protagonist. And that's Hi-Fi Rush, an amazingly action-packed 3D platforming musical with an amazing soundtrack, visual style, and wonderful characters that make me feel like I'm playing an AMV in real time. It's really good and pretty cheap compared to other AAA titles, which is cool to see. But I feel a little bad, cause I totally would have paid more for this awesome game. And you know, that's what the deluxe edition is for. And this game really has earned that little fucking crown. Please make an 808 toy. I really want my own tiny version of this little thing. Especially if it comes included with that cute little crown. If they go the Pokemon route and do those life-size versions, I'd love a 3-foot stuffed cat with LEDs strapped onto it that just sits on my shelf and judges me every time I play Bayonetta when I could have been playing Hi-Fi Rush like a good little consumer. Does this life-size Lucario freak the hell out of anyone else? I don't know, man. Seeing this poor woman having a conversation with this vaguely human-sized Anubis doll that has a frankly impressive amount of posability, it's just unnerving, and I'm really uncomfortable reading those reviews.